Alright, so this won't be as in-depth as my other Adobe videos, but basically in this one I'm going to draw 3D runes. So first off, I'm going to go into Adobe Animate over here, and basically what I did is I took a screenshot, I copied and pasted it normally into Adobe Animate. So basically what I like to do here is I'm a huge tracer of stuff. Like, I'm a good drawer, but everyone knows that you could be a better drawer as a tracer than as a doing nothing. So I go over here, and what I like to do is I select this to Eyedropper Tool to grab a particular color. So I'll click down here, this plus new layer right down here, and I'll create a new layer. And what I do is I'll click over here, and then you click on Tool to make sure that you can change your size, because sometimes it flips over to here and you're like, where am I? So you click on Tool and you go over here to Size, and you adjust the size, which adjusts the size of the brush. You could also press Control Shift, I think Greater, or Control Greater. No, whatever. I used to know how to make the brush size bigger. There's like a hotkey to make it bigger, and I click on layer 2, which is a different layer than layer 1. Layer 1 was this image, so layer 2 will be the one that I'm drawing. So I just put the color over here so I could quickly reference it again. So I'll click this, and that's good. So basically you could just draw this a few times, the same color, and you go all the way down. So now I'm going to click here, I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to click on this, I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to click, I don't have to draw it every single time, click on that, click on this, and then click on this, click on this, etc. I'm not going to say click on it every single time, nor am I going to draw a circle every single time either. So, oops. So, click on this. I just need the color so that I can like copy everything over here, over here, and then yeah, click off of that. And I already have the blue from the water, so I'm going to click on the classic brush tool, just draw on that color similar to how I drew the first orange color. I'm not changing anything up really. Click here and click here. Alright, so I have all the colors of the runes that I need. So basically now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab like the rune color itself, I guess, a lighter version of it. Yeah, I already have it right there. But basically I could do like radial colors, which you could go over here. I'll show that while I'm actually drawing it. But basically what I do is I lock the layer, I right click it, and I'm actually going to make this bigger. So I'm going to unlock it, click this layer, make it bigger. So like each of the things are like bigger kind of drawn. Because I don't want to draw small triangles for the logos, because if you draw like small stuff, it kind of looks bad, and it doesn't render in 3D logo properly. Alright, so that's a good enough size. So I'm going to lock this layer, right click and select properties, and go to 20% opacity. So now it's super easy to trace. So now I'm going to go over here, click here, and then you click onto the actual layer you're drawing on, and make sure you don't overwrite your colors. And then you go over here, and I'm going to change the brush size to like 3, go over here, and what I basically do is I'll trace the colors. It's super simple, like anyone could do it. And yeah, you basically click the paint bucket tool and paint bucket stuff. Alright, so that's good. and then I'll just switch over to like the rune color. So for this, I like to click here, and then I right click, select oval tool, and I'm gonna basically draw it like that. So you can see the fill is the inside and the stroke is the outside line. So the outside line, I'm basically gonna want to not exist, or I can make it like that, because it's a nice gray, it looks pretty good. So I'm gonna draw this right here. I'm gonna draw this over here, and let me move this over here, and then draw the circle right there. And I'm gonna right click this, and you can just drag it over here. Normally I guess you could send to back or whatever, but whatever. I'm just gonna draw this up here because I assume this is what RuneScape would have wanted, like in general. So go over here, and I'm gonna draw like a shade in, I guess. I think actually I'm gonna undo this because I don't want to draw the circle every single time. So I'm gonna draw the circles, however many circles I need, over here, and I'm gonna hold Control on my keyboard and then scroll down with my mouse, and I'm just gonna paste a few circles, like like right here. Alright, so you got more circles. It's all the circles. So I'm gonna go over here, and I'm actually gonna shade in here, because whoops, yeah. Click this. Notice how this circle changed colors. So I'm gonna zoom in over here. You hold Control and you press, you scroll up on the scroll wheel, or you could actually click here and then like left click and hold it, and then select it wherever you want to focus on. And you could do the same with minus. You could just click, double click, or just click, or you could like hold it down and then focus on a particular area. So over here, I'm just gonna select this one, and then I want it slightly darker, so I'm gonna click here and drag it down a little bit. So let's say I want it to be like that, and look at that. That looks way better, right? So I'm gonna overwrite my other circles because the circle is far superior. None of these circles really matter anymore. So, oh, right, move this over here. All right, now there we go. Alright, so now I'm just going to clone all of these circles. Perfect. Alright, so now I'm going to drag the rune colors. So over here, notice how it's like snapping automatically. That really annoys me a lot. So let me see. I know there's a magnet tool somewhere. I don't know where it is, but you could Google it. So I'm just going to zoom in. Yeah, I'm not really sure where the magnet is. Let me see, window. Yeah, not really sure where the magnet is, but they have, yeah, so if you zoom in, it doesn't really matter, it seems. So go over here, click here, and I'm just gonna draw this over here. I'm gonna make my brush size a little bit bigger. There we go. So that was a very good body rune, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so you have to click off the thing, or else, like, if you have it selected currently and then you click the eyedropper tool, it'll actually change the entire color. So you have to keep that in mind. So you can always press Control Z to undo any changes that you don't like. And I'm basically gonna draw over here, and I'm gonna adjust the brush size to like 2. You just click here, left click, and then you just type on your keyboard, whatever. So go over here, and it's kind of like a Mario Party, like the outline thing. So that looks good. Put this over here. So this is the body rune. No, this is the mind. This is the mind rune. The body rune is this one, because this is a mind and this is a body, the Gollum. Yeah. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna click off of that, and then I'm gonna go over here and select the stick color, and I'm gonna draw just 2 earths. I don't know why they consider this the earth symbol, but I mean, RuneScape is very holy ground, so I guess they consider that to be earth for whatever reason. I really don't know. Kind of looks like 2 planes. So drag this over here, and then these are nice circles, for sure. So I'm gonna draw, I like how the colors are already set up, so I don't have to keep like switching stuff around, because it's super aggravating to me. And when I could just do everything in bulk, that's how I like prefer to do everything. So I go over here, it's good. Obviously I'm still doing this all on layer 2, because I'm going to delete layer 1 once I fully complete it. I mean, you could always like do it on the same layer, and then but yeah, you don't want to like mess anything up. Like Adobe Illustrator also has layers, and you could kind of like use the layers in the 3D logo, but I prefer to just do like one simple, like I don't mess around in Adobe Illustrator. I just do it real quick and it's ready to be imported into Adobe After Effects. So right now I'm in Adobe Animator. Obviously, if you sign up for a Adobe Creative Cloud subscription, it's only like $20, $21 a month, and then that's if you have a .edu email address. Otherwise, it's like $55 a month. But like obviously, I graduated college many years ago, and I still have a .edu email address, so I just enter it, and then like I verify it, and then it basically what does it do? It lets you get a discounted subscription price at a monthly rate. They sometimes charge early cancellation fees, I'm pretty sure, but I mean, it's like $40 or $60. I think it's like $45 or something. And yeah, I mean, I sometimes cancel early, but sometimes don't. So it's really up in the air. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I like creative destruction, and like just like I put in like my cringe folder, And yeah, that's basically it. Because sometimes it is cringe, and there's really nothing you can do about it. But I always resubscribe. Because like sometimes there's just nothing else to do in it. But now I'm like, wait, actually, I could draw runes. Alright, so that's a nice chaos rune for sure. I don't know if I necessarily need a nature rune, because you don't really use them in the magic video, and I guess I could put like numbers above each of them, however many I need for like the intro for the video in 3D text. So over here, and I can draw blue water. Oops, I always do that. So Control Z to undo. Go over here and I can draw this. That could have been much better. You zoom in, it's easier. So that's pretty good. Kind of looks like Mirka Chase a little bit from Neopets. Right? So put this over here. I don't like this yellow, it kind of looks like mustard. I think that's better yellow. Alright, so I'm going to draw the moon. This is a cosmic rune. Use it to enchant the different stuff, as you can see from my magic RuneScape YouTube video. Like I had a level magic from level 1 to level 33 for the Dragon Slayer quest, which I'll be editing in this video actually to completion. So drag this over here, and then I'm going to go down here, because this makes it a better process, because I had to draw all these things. So it's like, if I stream it, it's way more enjoyable. So over here, and everyone's like, oh, like you just like totally traced their logos, dude, that's like not fair. But honestly, like I literally traced them, and in like 4 different programs, so literally don't care. Like I downloaded Adobe After Effects in high school on my Sony Vaio. I torrented it because it was like $1,000 for After Effects or something back in the day. So I taught myself After Effects because obviously I was a huge fan of YouTube in addition to Halo and everything else. And like obviously YouTube isn't real, so there we go. I got all these runes drawn. I'm gonna basically highlight this, delete that, and select this, unlock it, and then I'm gonna left click delete for layer 1, which was the first one. I'm gonna drag this over here, drag this over here. Like I'm basically left clicking and holding down and selecting the entire area in between each of the runes, and then you could just select and line up your circles. Like it shows how they line up, so you're able to kind of see how it looks, because sometimes things don't line up. So I mean, they are the same circle, so it's like Alright, so that's good. This one needs to be a little bit taller. Alright. So obviously you press right on your keyboard to move it a little bit, or up on your keyboard, etc. after left click dragging and selecting it. So that looks pretty good. So basically what I do here is I'll file, I'll save as, and I normally save them in like templates. So I'll call this like Rune Animate, save. I go to file, export, export image, and over here you have to check transparency because it gets rid of the blank white background. So like obviously over here it's white, so if you check transparency it gets rid of that, but it also keeps the whites that you specifically drew. So basically I do it as PNG 8 because PNG images are like that. So I'll click save, and then I'm going in here. Here's like all my different PNGs that I did so far in here. So I'll do Rune Animate PNG, save. So basically what I do here is, there it is, Adobe Illustrator. So I'm gonna open up Adobe Illustrator. It's also a part of Adobe Creative Cloud. And what I'll do is I'll do new file. I always do new file, create. And what I'll do is I'll just click up here, file, open, and I'll go over to the PNG that I just saved, which was Rune Animate. So here's image trace. If you don't have this window open, I'll close it. You go to window and you click image trace. There it is. Alright, so basically you click here, go to color, because sometimes it's just not there. And yeah, so however many colors you have, if you have a lot of colors, then you can say however many colors. I'm going to say that there are, it doesn't matter, you don't have to be exact, so I'm just going to guesstimate 22 colors and then click trace. So it traces them automatically, and then what I do is I'll click on here, I'll click on the white arrow, click here, I go to object, I click expand, okay, and then with the white arrow I click here again, and then I select delete. So I click the white space, like for example, like between legs or in between arms, anywhere that there's just white area, you need to double click and then select delete twice on your keyboard. So now this is done, so I'm going to click save as, and I'm going to call it Rune Animate Illustrator, and save and press OK. So that's basically done, at which point I will open up Adobe After Effects. So I'm going to open up, I really liked, I think my goblin leveling was good as a template. Crafting was not as good. Yeah, goblin was good. I guess Gollum Quest is pretty good. I'll do Gollum Quest. So this is Adobe After Effects. You need a slightly better computer to run this. But I mean, I was always able to run it on cheaper laptops as well. It just takes longer. But it is annoying because you have to wait for loading times while adjusting stuff. And it's still feasible. So I deleted this obviously, so it's no longer here. So if you delete like an image or move its location, I moved its location in this case, then it looks like that. So here is like the project view. You could switch your windows over here for what you want to see. In project view, I think, or something like that. Go to view. I don't know. Here's the project. Here's the composition. Here's like the composition layers and timeline. And then, yeah, it's not really that difficult as it relates to this. You don't really need to pay attention to anything. So basically I have these 3D letters already drawn up here, and so the Gollum Illustrator outlines, I'm gonna click this and I'm gonna click delete. I'm gonna click delete on that because I don't need that. I'm gonna go over to Gollum Quest and click delete, and right over here I'm gonna right click right here, so in this project area. You could drag this down if you have too many, because sometimes the templates are like, so right click, import, and file. So I'm gonna go over to, what is it, After Effects templates, and I'm gonna go over to that Illustrator thing that I just saved, which was Rune Animate Illustrator. Press OK, and here I'm gonna just drag this down here, and I'm gonna click right here under the 3D cube, so I'm gonna make it 3D, and I'm gonna right click, create, go to create, and then select create shapes from vector layer. So it says the outline contains triangles that are too small to be rendered, so that's an error. So basically I need to revisit Animate. So sometimes that happens and you make like too small triangles. So at which point I like to go over here and I'll like anything that looks like it's like small or whatever, I'll kind of make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to click this and I'm going to change the stroke size to 3. Change this to 3. Change this to 3. Change this to 3. Yeah, it should work. Because obviously it has to make circles all the way around in like a calculus formula. Like a 1 paint size is pretty small. It's like a circle. You gotta draw the circle properly. Like I did the ice giant, that one was kind of annoying too. Alright, so file, export, image, save, Rune Animate, big. Animate, file, open. Rune Animate big. So I'm going to do color and 20. Press trace. Go over here, object, expand. Okay. I'm just going to delete the white area around it. File, save as. Rune Animate big. Okay. And go to After Effects. So I'm going to delete some of these other layers that did not work. Just right click, just left click and then select delete on the keyboard. Import file. Rune Animate big. Choose layer, do layer 1. Draw this over here. Right. Do 3D, create shapes from vector layer. Nice, that worked, finally. So now I'm working on the outlines. So I click here, I go to geometry options, I go to extrusion depth, and I'm just gonna do big. Normally I do 20 or like 15. Or in the case of words, I do extrusion depth 5 and then bevel depth. Well, I do extrusion depth 3 and then bevel depth 4. And I do bevel style angular. You could do other word effects or whatever. So I'm going to do 50 because these are runes, technically, at the end of the day. Like they are runes, so they need to be treated as such. And basically my timeline, like I scroll over here, so 20F is about 5 seconds, which is good in my book. You can drag this over to expand the work area and make it bigger, and I basically do 20F as, because that's 5 seconds. I was actually looking for how to change the time. You go to File, you go to Project Settings, and you go to Time Display Style, and you could switch it to like something like this, timecoder frames, but that didn't actually work, so I'm at 5 seconds here. And yeah, I really don't mind it. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, Siri's listening to me. Okay, Siri. So I'm going to click on the layer I want. I'm going to click R on the keyboard, and then I'm going to click the clock here. So it's at 0 rotation here, and I'm going to go scroll over here to the right hand side, and I'm going to click here and press 360. Alright, so obviously when you click here, it creates like a motion tween or something between the different things. So obviously it goes from 0 to 360 by that time in the timeline. So those are the runes, and they do one full rotation. And I'm just gonna scroll up here and then call this like magic leveling guide OSRS. I'm gonna highlight the entire thing, press Control Shift and less than on the keyboard to make it smaller. You could also click up here to change it, but I don't really do that. Click here, so drag this over here, and you can right click and go to transform. And then go to auto orient. You could have off, orient along towards the camera, along path. But I normally just don't do that, I have it off. And then I go here, so Z rotates it, X rotates it, Y rotates it, and then alright. So just drag this over here. Whatever, that looked good. Yeah, so here's my magic leveling. So I go over here, I have angular, 4 bevel, and 3 extrusion. If you want to do that again, you go up here and do text, and you'll do magic text. Go over here, and I'll change the size to 55. I don't know why it's so small. So I'll drag this down here, select magic text. So I'll click here, I'll press S for scale, and you can just make the size bigger. Go over here, drag this over here, because you could do keyboard shortcuts. You click on the layer and you press S for scale, P for position, R for rotation. Those are the ones I use. And so here's magic text. So basically over here you could click 3D, and then you could adjust the rotation and then kind of set up the similar geometry options as my thing over there. So I'm just going to delete that. You could change the color, so go over here. So I could click up here and I'll change the color of the text to gold up here, so gold. And then the background, the bevel area, so I click here, double click, and I'll make it blue. See? So that's how you do that. So this basically looks like it's done here. So basically what I do here is I'll press composition, save frame as, and file. So normally what this would do is it would add it to my render queue here, but for some reason it's not doing that now. So it just started like this weekend. So right now obviously I'm in the render queue, so I'm going to click back to the composition. I'm going to go to composition, and I'm going to select add to render queue, and I'm going to go down here and select here. So I'm just going to render the movie sequence first, which is the video from the full 5 seconds. So I'm going to do AVI, I have these format options. Press OK, and then I click here, output to. So it's going to output to my YouTube uploads thing. So I'm going to do a new folder, and I'm going to call this Magic Leveling. And I'm going to call this Rune. No, Magic Leveling Intro. Press save. And basically what I do is I just click render. Okay, I ignore that every single time. Because I think I have like files over here that no longer exist. So now I just wait while it renders, and you can watch it render in front of your face, because it has to load each of the different things. And obviously over here I have Cinema 4D selected. I think that's required in order to do this. So notice how over here I have quarter selected, so I'm actually going to press pause or stop here. Press stop. I'm going to go to composition, and I'm going to select full here because I want full resolution. This is just zoom, but this is resolution, including for this is resolution for the work area, and it's also the resolution for the final output. So I didn't even notice. Like I have my entire website is built on my entire VBA tutorial code.com website is actually built based on quarter rendered stuff. So you can see my thing loading right now. So composition, add to render queue, scroll down here, I'll do AVI, and so I'm going to do Magic Leveling Intro Final. Save, and I'm going to select render. Okay. So it'll render a little bit faster because it was already rendering anyway while I was talking. Because I think you can press spacebar after you set up your stuff, and it kind of plays it back in front of your face also before you render as well. So yeah, now it's just rendering each of the different frames in the timeline for the 5-second video. It takes a bit depending on like what you're doing. And I mean, back in the day on my cheap, well not cheap, but like $1,000 laptop for Sony Vaio, I actually animated like pretty like cool like I did like a green screen of me climbing out of water, and I did a mask on my outline. So like I moved it as I moved on the camera because I couldn't green screen properly, obviously, because obviously that wasn't cool or fun. So Magic Leveling Guide, OSRS. Obviously I could change the size of the runes, I'm pretty sure. So I'll go over here to where's my runes at? Oh, so I go to the outlines, I press S, and I'll do like 150. Get bigger runes. Like, there we go. So I mean, like, how big do the runes need to be? Like, you know, like I felt like that was that was better before. So press Control Z. Yeah, I thought that looked good. And I mean, here I could basically add in like gold text for like, I'm just gonna click the words that I already have. I'm gonna press Control C and then Control V, which makes another layer, and I'm gonna drag it over here. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to however many runes I need. So actually no. Let me think. I could do a different image for each of them. I'll just write it out. You don't need like letters above the runes, honestly. So I'm gonna write where's my snippet tool? Oh, whoops. Where's my Excel document? Alright, so I need 12. Alright, I'm right over here now. So click on here. I need 1250. Let me just Control C, Control V. And basically what over here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 1250 mind runes. And then I'm going to press Shift Enter to get to the next row. I'm going to do 1250 earth runes. Shift Enter to go to the next row. 1250 water runes. Shift Enter. 850 fire runes. Shift Enter. 1000 air runes. Shift Enter. 1000 body runes. I feel like I don't need this many on different lines. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to press backspace, which will put this one on the same line as this one. And I'm going to press comma and drag this over. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to press Control Shift and smaller, less than sign to make it a smaller thing. And then I'm just going to highlight the entire thing. So this was 61, so highlight the entire thing, click here. And since they're different sizes, the text turns into a hyphen. So I change that size. I'll go over here to, I guess, 53. So that's good. And then I'll do that for this line as well. And I'm going to delete Magic Leveling Guide up here. And yeah, change this to 1000 body runes. Actually, for text, I like Baskerville font way more than this particular font. So let me just change the sizes of all these real quick. So I was at 1000 body runes, 400 chaos runes. 400 cosmic runes. What was that last 1250? There's another 1250. I think cosmic was the last one I added, I'm pretty sure. At the bottom. Alright, so for the numbers, I'm going to select the ones, I guess. I'm going to click this and drag it over with a left click. You can press Control. I can't select multiple, it seems. So I'm just going to select one. I'm going to go over here to Baskerville Old Face. I like Baskerville Old Face. That's the New York Times is apparently voted the most favorable font in the world, according to a New York Times article in 2011. So, yeah, apparently, according to science, it is the most elegant text. So, change the entire thing to Baskerville. Yeah, so since I changed the one, let me just do them all at once. Edit, redo, change text. So I'm going to switch this one back to like a different one, and then I'm just switch them all to Baskerville. And so since they're like kind of big, you can drag the text closer together like this so they take up less space. And you could do this to make them each of the lines kind of farther apart. And yeah, so basically I'm just going to press Control Shift and less than to make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, it looks like it fits everywhere, and it looks really nice as well. So I'm just gonna drag this dude, click on him, and oh. So if you're having trouble with that, you click on the hand and you could adjust over here after zooming in. So sometimes you'll be like clicking on like the cameras and stuff. So click on the hand tool to kind of adjust where that is. And I'm just gonna keep this in the image because it looks cool. Obviously I have like a floor here, so I did a layer, new, solid, and you select the color here, dark gray solid, and then you select the composition or the size of the layer, and you press like OK. That's how you add in a new solid layer. And basically I turned it into 3D, and what I did is I shifted it like that, so, etc. And then you can kind of rotate it. So Z is backwards. So kind of get that. It kind of looks like I forget which one it is to like turn it. Oh, there we go, X. Yeah, so you got that, like you got the floor, etc. You could kind of like make it like a deck of cards. So I'm just gonna click here and just delete that that layer, and then I'm gonna go over here to my outline over here. I'm gonna press scale, and I'm gonna do 50. I'll just make the runes a little bit smaller, I guess. And I'm gonna press P to go to position, and drag it to move it a little bit, because I can't, like, there's so many like little things everywhere, so I could just drag it with like this thing, which makes it a little bit easier. So drag this to the forefront, and then I'm going to move it to the left a little bit, and then I'm going to rotate. I think the y-axis, I'm pretty sure. No, wait, let me zoom in. I got it on full, yeah, Y right here. I've like it on like full resolution, so it takes a second to drag stuff around. So if you switch this back to like less, then it doesn't take as long to load. Yeah, so let me change the size. But then obviously when you export it, then it won't be as good quality. So obviously you have to keep that in mind as well, which I didn't know. I was like, all my stuff is awesome. So this looks good now. I'm gonna go to, normally I do file, save as, and file, and then it appears as a whatever, and then I change it to a JPEG sequence, and then I render it, and I save as, and it saves it instantly as one file, but they changed it recently. So I'm just gonna go to add a render queue, click here, and then go to JPEG sequence. And I don't know how to change it so it's only one image. So it actually exports all of them, all of the frames, as individual images within like this array of like the brackets here. So I'm gonna click here, and I'm just going to click save, and then I'm going to click render. It's going to render every single frame in the timeline as a separate image, which really doesn't matter, to be honest. I'm just going to press stop because it's already rendered like half of them or whatever. That's all I needed. So I'm going to go into Adobe Premiere Pro. So I'm going to right click and go to import, and go to my YouTube uploads and select, what is it, magic leveling? Yeah, magic leveling. So in here it has all the images, so that I could use my YouTube thumbnail, obviously. So I'll go over here and I'll do magic level intro final, import this. I'll go over here and I'll import my intro for here. I don't know why they're 29.97 frames per second. That's like it should say like RTX on next to it, so I don't know. So that looks cool, and it has this. That looks cool. And then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and import my last stream. So I'm going to go to downloads, and I'm going to click on this one, which is my last stream. It just takes like a few seconds to load or whatever. Can't believe it's so early this morning. That was a good wake up. Like I sat there and I just like did magic. Alright, so that imported. It took a little bit longer than normal. That was pretty weird for a 30-minute video. Normally it's like way faster, but I have like a stream running, and then I also have After Effects still open and all this other stuff. I don't feel like closing anything. So at this point I basically I'll just show like my quick stuff, and then I'm just gonna edit it separately. So here I like to drag this to zoom in on a clip, and I click here to clip it, and then you could like clip it over here, and you could drag it so you could separate the stuff. And then if you need to mute a particular audio, you drag this down here and you click mute, and it'll keep the particular thing here, but this audio will be muted. So if you need to speed it up, make sure you don't right click on the FX here. If it's a small thing, you right click and you go to speed duration and do like 500%, so it'll make it a faster thing, and you can skip over parts. And then you just drag it over here and it'll end right there, so that'll be like a much faster area. Press Control Z, and yeah, so that's all there. So if I do this and then I go over here and I click here, and then I click here and click this. So if I go over to effects, where's the effects at? Oh yes, here's effects. So you go to effect controls and you go to scale. So you can watch it while you're changing it live. So you could zoom in, you can change the position, and it only applies to that particular section of the video. So you can change the audio, you can clip stuff, and you can change zooms. I mean, obviously After Effects also has other effects for editing videos, like changing like curves effects. They have particle physics or whatever for cool little particles of like whatever. You could import green screen effect footage, and then they also have like their pre-rendered pre-created effects, and like particles, pretty cool. And yeah, you could do like cool stuff. I forget like which one. They have like key light matte or something, which you can use to do the green screen. So you could do green screen, and it basically deletes out anything that's green. A few basic stuff. So you could hear your audio like while you're dragging through or playing. Basically I have it set here to fit, and then when I'm done, I basically click wherever I want to start. I press I to start the timeline, and then go over here and I'll make it smaller towards the end of the timeline. So go over here, and then you click here and you press O. So that's the end of the video. Wherever you want to designate it, you can move it over here, so it only outputs up to here. So yeah, that's pretty basic overview. And then once you're done, you go to File and Export Media, and you change the name up here. So name it here. and then you go over here to location, and you click location. You select whichever location you want to export the video, and then down here at the bottom right, you select export. You could send to the media encoder, but I prefer to just export because encoding takes a few bit more, and I don't really see a difference, and I don't care to look for the difference. And I'd always do H.264, which is .mp4. It's compressed. It compresses all of the videos, and it's still really 1080p HD on YouTube. I'm not sure how 4K works on Elgato. I use Shadowplay GeForce Experience on my Alienware R11 PC to record everything, and I stream it right to Twitch. And then obviously it keeps all the audio in sync, because normally when I record with Shadowplay, it would kind of change around the audio timing, which was very upsetting to me. But when it actually recorded directly to Twitch, it kept the audio in sync, which I thought was very cool. So that's basically how you do everything there. I'm just going to click export and cancel because I don't know how to get out of that screen. So yeah, I'm just going to end the stream and then just like finish editing this video because I just need to like chop stuff